The problem is the law. The law is the problem. Were we not controlled and restricted by the land ownership, we would be free to move from place to place without having a land ownership. But because we have this land ownership, we have everybody in separate, this is where you live, this is your identity, and you're locked down into a specific spot. You can't move easily, and you got to uproot yourself from one place to put yourself in another place, and it's a huge process. I mean, we just don't do that easily. Now, that's not, why is that necessary? Why is there, who made the earth, owns the earth? That's the end of it. That's the beginning of it. Like, we, we, we really don't own anything. Like, we're given everything. It's what we're doing with it that is the problem. Now, with land, the real estate board, they govern, and they want to keep the demand up. They want to keep the prices going up, and people are buying into that, and they're not understanding that there is a way better way for us to get along than through ownership. If we didn't have ownership, we would be free to move from place to place. And like on the reserves where actually they do not have ownership, they have certificates of possession, and they own what's on the property. They own the structures on the property, and that's another system. That's a different system, and I'm not saying that that's the best that we can do, but certainly it is something that's different that's being done, and you should look at that, like why reserves are collective prisons for the natives. Now, they didn't create the reserves. They were created and they were put on them, and now they're restricted on that land, and they have their own systems now. But we're all under this major control, which is in my case, it's federal control, and they make the laws underneath an international body, like we're a crown corporation. We're we're under laws which come from way back in the past, and it's a big study to try and understand where's their legitimacy. They started off coming in here, taking the land and writing their rules, which gave them control over it. Now, a lot of people acknowledge that this is native land, but we're still buying and selling properties on this land, and nothing's really changed. We have no legitimate claim to owning it, and really the only thing we have a claim to is we have our lives here. We have our lives, and we have need. We got to live somewhere. We got to sleep somewhere. So we need to uh, change our system to one which has more consciousness in it, and one that has truth established as a base of our foundation. And the truth of the land, again, is who made it owns it. We're just inhabitants here. Let's uh, change the rules which are governing us by understanding what the real system is. The real system of the earth, the air, the water. The, these are the true establishments of our being, and they should be the foundation. So our foundation should be based on necessities. We need necessary uh, goods for survival. We need to eat. We need to sleep. We need to breathe. We need to drink water. All these things should be our priority. Now, where the system is, that system, they've made money the major ruler. And if you have the money, well, you can do this, you can do that. You have every access to everything, and you have control, but you're still locked into that system. And that system is against the real system. It's destroying the earth. It's destroying the quality of our lives, and we have to change it. Now, this little program that I'm working on establishing here is to bring out to you how these controls are being dropped on you, and you are forced without any avenue of change to go along with it. So let's look at locally where I am the rules governing um, your access to land here. Now we know, everybody knows that you have to go and buy land if you want it. You have to do that whole process. Everybody also knows that this is unaffordable. Now with the homelessness issue here in Victoria in 2004, an individual here, David Arthur Johnston, took the Crown on in court to establish his right to sleep. Now you can go on in Amazon books, and there's a book, The Right to Sleep by David Arthur Johnston, and it's a journal of his history in doing an occupation on St. Anne's Academy, which is a provincially owned piece of property that he set up a camp on. He went to court and first arrest in 2004, and after a 4-year process was able to get a judge to say yes, he did have a right to sleep, and that the city was truly unjust in denying him that access to necessary survival means. So that's called the Adams decision. Again, you can research that online. Now, in 2008, this decision came out, and the city had to back down on its parks use bylaw. And what they did, instead of the law now is meant to be all day. It's a 24-hour-a-day reality. So when you make a law, it's considered always speaking. It's there all the time. But when the ruling came down, what the city did was they wrote another bylaw which said, okay, you have the right to sleep, and then they added the words at night. And so they made this 7 to 7 rule. Now here, this is what's caused all the problems that we have now. So you could go and set up a camp, you can right now, and they won't bother you if you do it at 7 p.m. at night. But then you have to get up at 7 a.m. in the morning, and you have to pack up all your gear, and you got to carry it around with you until nighttime again. This is not reasonable. It's not working, and it's caused a problem. And so now we have a camp at the courthouse, and people are established there, and that establishment is, I mean, that's a whole another scene there. I mean, if you want to go look at it, see what they've done. They just erected a fence around it, and I call it an internment camp. And the police are there constantly, and they have service providers constantly, and there's no real ability there. There's no sustainable ability for those people to survive in that kind of a situation. And they're trying to, say, okay, we need affordable housing to house these people. And that's their focus. Well, again, that's more real estate board control. They want more money. And they don't have enough money. They're broke. Their system, we're depleting the earth's resources, and we're wasting our ability to function properly. We're not going. It's not sustainable. We can't maintain this into the future. It's going to collapse, and it is in collapse. So the city wrote the bylaw, the 7 to 7 rule, and that's what has to change. They have to get rid of that bylaw that they wrote. Now the council there, you've got 9 members in this council, and somebody makes a suggestion and makes a motion. Okay, let's change the rule, and then you've got this very in that process whereby it drags on forever. They don't seem to be able to come up with the right directive. And so the problem continues, and all they do is go for more money and say all we need is more money. Well, that's not right. That money itself is a corruption.